Welcome to ZakDTV, the place for interesting news from around the net. In today's episode, we are going to look at lab-grown leather, a robot dog that'll let you know if your feet smell, and we're going to wrap up with a parasite found in cats that can alter the way you think. And if you want more interesting news like this, go ahead and click the subscribe button right over here. That way you know when I upload something new. Alright, let's get into this. A few years back, researchers started coming out with synthetic lab-grown meat. And while they've made some advances in growing animal tissue in a lab, it still isn't quite up to par with what we'd consider edible, and is nowhere near cost-effective to be sold to people as a food source. It's a great idea, it'd save on pollution, greenhouse gases, all this other stuff, a lot of land that's given up for livestock, but it's just not there yet. And for years now, we've been trying to come up with another animal product, leather. And that's where we have it made out of vinyls, and there's pleather, and there's all sorts of different faux materials out there. But none of them are quite as smooth or as nice as a real piece of leather. And because we humans like to wear other animals, the leather industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And this is where modern Meadow steps in. They're a company out of New York who is bioprinting collagen in order to make custom-made sheets of leather. And they have proven that their technology works. They do this by taking DNA from a donor animal. Then they cut it apart and insert the genes they want to make sure that it produces collagen, which is what all skin is made of. They let these cells then reproduce, then they start producing that protein collagen. As the collagen grows, it makes up fibers, and those fibers are finally assembled into the final product of leather. At this stage, it's still very pliable, just like a freshly skinned animal. It still has to be tanned and dyed and whatnot from there, but because they influence it on a genetic level, they can give their leather different textures, different softness. In fact, on their website, they mention that even woolly mammoth leather is not impossible to make. Another bonus to making leather this way is it'll be less waste. They can actually 3D print this leather so there's no flaws in a square sheet or in any shape requested by the manufacturer. Unlike our current hides, which are shaped by the animal, have defects in them in the form of scars and things like that, and can contain many other types of flaws as well. So while they're not able to print on a large scale yet, this is proof of concept. They are moving forward into this industry, and hopefully one day we could buy 3D printed leather alligator shoes. And since I mentioned shoes, let's take a look at this robot. This is Hana-Chan. This is a robot dog that can tell you if you have stinky feet. It is developed by Japan's Next Technology. They're the commercial branch of the National Institute of Technology, Kita College. I don't know if I said it right. Let me know if I'm wrong. Now, this dog uses a sensor on its nose to sniff at a person's feet, which in Japan is actually extremely important because smelling bad can be considered a form of harassment legally in Japan. So anyway, this dog will sniff your feet, and if they smell good, he'll give a wag of the tail. If they smell bad, he'll bark at you. If they smell really bad, you'll knock him right off his feet. That's pretty cute, isn't it? They did start with this robot back in 2015 after they received a request from a man who wanted to know how bad his feet smelled. He was looking for a detector of some kind, and this is what they came up with. They do plan on having it on sale next year, and they have a planned price point of 100,000 yen. Or 905 American dollars. Seems to me like a better way to spend $1,000 than on the new iPhone. And finally, let's move from dogs to cats. Well, not really cats so much as the parasite that they carry with them. Toxoplasma gondii. You know how pregnant women aren't supposed to handle kitty litter? This is the parasite that caused that rule. Scientists believe that more than 2 billion people are host to this parasite. You can get it from things like cat waste, or consuming raw meat. And I remember years ago reading a study on this where they thought an effect of T. gondii was to cause people to become crazy cat women. The way Toxoplasma gondii reproduces is it excretes eggs into the cat's feces. Those eggs are then designed to hitch a ride on rodents, or humans who end up exposed to the litter box. They then cause a feeling in the rodents to like cats more, to be okay with going around them, to get rid of that fear of being around them, which in turn will cause the rat to be eaten and start the life cycle over again for this parasite. They figure when this thing gets in humans, it causes people to like cats more than they normally would. Hence the desire to own so many cats. And now a paper put out in Scientific Reports that was contributed to by 16 different agencies seems to have found a link between toxoplasma gondii and a range of neurological disorders like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, epilepsy, even cancer. What they found in their study was that this parasite puts off proteins that can alter and manipulate the host's brain chemistry, like the way it makes rats approach cats. And what they actually found in the study was that microRNA and proteins that were found in children with heavy infections of toxoplasmosis were also showing up in every case of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's that they examined. Now, while they can't say definitively that this parasite is what's causing these conditions, it does open up a whole world of study on possible ways to eradicate these diseases. This would allow researchers going from here forward to look into new ways to diagnose, or even new treatments for these neurological disorders. And of course, like with any other study, they're still working on this, they're going to find what they can, but let's hope this leads to some good answers in the future. So in the comments down below, let me know, do you own a cat? And would you get rid of it if it was absolutely proven that it could give you a disease? While you're down there, remember to hit that like button if you enjoyed this episode. I do this 5 days a week with a live stream on Saturday and a short on Sunday, so I hope to see you here again. And until next time, have fun and be safe.